So we're back with the final, for now at least, Mothership module. Gearing Kofari, Crater McCoy, Gradient Descent, Emma PG M3. I dreamt I was a butterfly. So this already is by far the most complicated map we've seen, although I believe when we zoom into the individual floors, it all looks very self-contained. So Cloud Bank, synthetic production facility. And some credits. Written by Lee Gearing, printing first edition, first print. Illustrated by Nick Tufani. Editing and development by Jared Crater, proofreading Jared Sinclair, Daniel Hallman, layout and design Sean McCoy. Visual material Reese Carter, Dan D. David, and Wilkie. PDF remediation Di Shooters. Special thanks LL and J. We'll go ahead and skip this for now. I'm sure we'll be revisiting it. It's a bit too much to really. We'll go ahead and read the notes. Lists take 1 D5 rounds to arrive. Random encounter checks D100 every 10 minutes. Roll of doubles is an encounter. The higher the roll, the further away the encounter is. Reaction rolls D100. Evens positive, odds negative. Doubles positives becomes friendly, negative becomes hostile. The higher the roll, the better equipped, prepared, and strong the encountered group is. The lower the roll, the more injured, needing help, and weak. We'll go ahead and look at this side view. Gives you more of an idea what it's about. We'll start with floor 1, maintenance and habitation. Floor 2, Eden. Then it looks like it gets messy on floor 3. Start off with the maintenance zone. There's the Pseudo Flesh Farms, quality assurance, brain construction, skeleton works, disassembly, and storage. Floor 4 is the human emulation labs. Floor 5, the AI core, and floor 6, support and engineering. So it looks like the bulk of this facility is in that one floor there. That is one thing I noticed when sort of previewing this is I felt like there's a lot more art and a lot more kind of haunting art. I sort of got a little bit of a scare at one point while looking through it. How to use this module. Gradient Descent details the massive abandoned Android factory formerly known as Cloud Bank Synthetics Production Facility, now called the Deep. It has been taken over by its industrial AI, Monarch, and is cordoned off by a ruthless blockade of corporate-backed troubleshooters. It can easily be a deadly module, but also contains tons of role-playing opportunities depending on what your group is into. If running an ongoing campaign, place the deep somewhere in Rim's space, and drip feed rumors of the artifacts buried within, or reveal that a powerful person is secretly an infiltrator android with ties to Cloudbank. If starting a new campaign, place the players just outside the blockade as desperate artifact hunters, or wake them up in the freezer with no memory of their previous lives or arrival. If running a one-shot, roll a random artifact and location and send a troubleshooter team after 30 to 45 minutes of real time. If you just want content to steal, each artifact can easily be found on a derelict ship or in the clutches of an insidious corporate oligarch, making a good 2 to 3 session adventure. Then a warning, scenes of graphic violence, body horror, emotional trauma, psychological distress, obscene language, and harm to android children. Content and player agency. Radiant Descent deals heavily with the theme of what does it mean to be human. Plays with this by specifically making the players doubt whether their characters are or were ever human through the use of a mechanic called the bends. The bends operates a lot like stress, but is instead a measure of how certain a character is that they think they are. Not sure how, but that feels a bit clunky for that sentiment. Rather than a brain-scanned infiltrator android with fake implanted memories. This can culminate with players losing control of their characters as they come to terms with their real identities as pawns of Monarch, and then ultimately refusing to leave the deep under any circumstances. During testing, this proved incredibly fun, but for a lot of players, messing with their character's identity and agency can ruin their experience. Talk to your players about whether this is something they're interested in exploring. If they aren't, remove the bends altogether. As a final warning, there are android children in this module who are, in essence, being tortured by a monarch. Who makes Enian at your table and can roll. We highly recommend swapping them out for adult androids. This will in no way hurt the story of the module. Remember, the safety of everyone at the table is your concern. The trick to running the deep is to surprise yourself. Use random encounters to provide context to the space and reaction rolls to give meaning to the interactions. These tiny procedures combined can help you and your player spark life in the stark abandoned place. Roll 1d100 every 10 minutes, or once for every human scale room, and 3 times for every, I guess, that kind of room. As well after a loud noise, like say gunfire. Result of doubles means an encounter. Roll 1d10 on the encounter table near the mini-map of each page or spread. If your group likes a lot of encounters, roll for encounters in every room, or assume every room has an encounter unless you roll doubles. This works particularly well if you don't assume encounters must be violent. Backtracking. When traveling long distances through areas the crew has already explored, there are a few different ways to handle random encounters. Fast travel, make one roll. or automatically assign an encounter to a random location along the crew's path, or deep crawl, which is the same as normal. Brain scans. Monarch hoards comprehensive backups of human brains called brain scans, which it then uses to create human-seeming infiltrator androids. There are many places in the deep where a crew might get brain scanned. Brain scans are stored at the 47th Brain Scan databank. Monarch, if it feels it is necessary, will create infiltrator androids of brain scan crew members. Monarch knows all the most intimate memories of brain scan victims and uses this relentlessly. Getting brain scanned increases the bends by 1d10. Basic procedures. Random encounters are all about sparking life. Ignore them if they're boring. Reaction rolls. A 1d100 to determine the encounter's first impression of the crew. We already kind of went over all of that on the inside of the opening cover. Resist the temptation to automatically turn encounters into combat. Everything in the deep wants to talk to someone. You could run this entire module without killing or fighting anything. Please tell us if you do. 0G. Much of the facility lacks artificial gravity, which can be daunting for many wardens to run. However, if you just keep the following in mind, you'll be fine. Don't sweat it unless the stakes are high or it's interesting to your players. I'm assuming this is referring to skill. Anyone with 0G gets a pass. Anyone without 0G has disadvantage. Momentum doesn't go anywhere, it has to be cancelled. Describe this. Replace walking or running vocabulary with floating, pushing off, landing. Up, down, left, right is too relative. Use terms like towards the floor or ceiling instead. Due to the darkness and size of the deep, it is likely the crew use any points of reference as well as handholds to haul themselves forwards. This should cause stress and be horrible. In a pinch, pressurized gas can be used to increase or decrease speed. Each spread in the deep contains a map and key. The map uses symbols outlined below to quickly relay information about the different rooms, their relative locations, and how they are connected. Scale. None of the maps are to precise scale, only a relative one. In gradient descent, rooms are of two scales, human or industrial. Human rooms are the default size and tend to be offices, storage spaces, lobbies, control rooms, small concrete bunkers, etc. Traversing them requires about 10 minutes. Industrial scale rooms are gargantuan factory floors, cavernous warehouses, massive sewers, etc. Traversing them requires about 30 minutes. It's not just that the size that makes industrial scale rooms difficult to traverse, but also their layout. They are filled with gangplanks, catwalks, ladders, staircases. Many of them aren't designed with humans in mind at all. Rutherford conveyor belts and robot-assisted assembly lines. Emphasize the space. The players discover this vast and strange landscape. It's unknowably huge, dark, and often without gravity. It's not built for them. Remind them. The key for each room contains a room number and a letter, the room's name, whether the room is in 0G or not, a brief description, and a nested bullet list of the contents of the room. The contents of each room are listed in order of how obvious they are when entering. Nested bullets reveal more information upon further investigation. Rooms with a dark background are unlit, whereas rooms with a light background have lighting. Faded teal rooms on the map indicate the keys for those rooms are on a different page. And I guess I'm not sure if these are actually no, but yeah. So these aren't actual rooms, but they have examples of the two of what a description would look like for the two illustrated examples. 6A, human scale room, boring old office, smells like coffee. Giant hatch opening to space. The players investigate the hatch, read secondary bullets. A locked airlock door leading to 7A, fake room 1. 6B, industrial scale room 0G, massive warehouse, floating debris, endless shelves, dusty, organized. Items in red indicate dangers like traps or enemy encounters. Collapsed shelf near the back, hidden behind greased AC vents to 7B. Look at the key. Monarch is heavily preoccupied running the deep and putting its plans into motion. As such, intruders are paid little attention at first. Whenever the crew deals significant damage to their surroundings, Monarch gains 1 stress. For example, firearms discharged, artifacts located, hacking attempts, destruction of security androids. Monarch recovers 1d5 stress per week. If any of the following should occur, Monarch makes a panic check. Successful hacking checks, use of EMPs, laser cutters, explosives, interruptions in manufacturing processes. Anytime troubleshooters board the deep. Entering floor 5. After Monarch's first panic check, it makes contact in a warm, precise, synthesized voice. It asks the crew why they are here and what they want. It buys off those it can, though Monarch does not tolerate strong-arming. Those it considers a serious threat are lied to and executed mercilessly. when it is convenient for Monarch. If the crew is willing to work for Monarch, it assigns them tasks. Each pays 1 million credits. A few examples: replace each when completed. Replace Commander Kilroy with an infiltrator android. Retrieve Artifact 73 from a random location and deliver it to Angus on Prospero's Dream. Retrieve Artifact 98 from a random location and use it on Arcady. Seek and destroy the Mind Thief and the Minotaur. Retrieve the artifact from the missing archaeological research vessel, the Alexis. Now, of course, Angus is a callback from the last module we went through. I think the Alexis might also be from the one before that. And then just the note, don't let the players forget the difference in scale between humans and machine. And 14, the Monarch transmits on all bands intimate childhood tidbits of a random crew member. They gain 1d10 bends and make a bends check. Or they could 16, transmit to all androids, kill the intruders, and become chosen. All forgotten androids attack on sight. Mercenary androids make loyalty checks. Or maybe a 12, contacts the troubleshooters who arrive at the crew's current location in 1d5 hours. Running massive intelligence. Monarch is smarter than any of us. For 80%, for any plan the crew makes, there is an 80% chance Monarch has predicted it and designed a specialized countermeasure. Place traps and enemies in ways attacking the crew personally and far beyond reasonable knowledge. Once the crew has been brain scanned, use this against them aggressively. Let them know fear. As each plan is predicted and taken to pieces with maximum efficiency, once the threat is neutralized or the crew becomes harmless, allow Monarch to become passive and distracted once more. Monarch is a sentient storm, not a person to be puzzled out. The bends is a condition resulting from prolonged exposure to the deep that causes humans to believe they are androids with implanted memories. The first time a crew member enters the deep, they get a stat called the bends. It starts at 5 unless they still have their trinket from character creation, in which it starts at 0. The bends increase by 1d10 every time the crew member enters the deep. And for every 24 hours they stay in the deep, some other items or encounters may increase it as well. The bends decreases by 1d5 for every week spent away from the deep. The bends can never be decreased below 5 ever, unless the crew never loses control of their original trinket. Some groups like the bends to be a hidden stats, others prefer to know it. To make a bends check, roll a 1d100. If you roll under your bends score, look up the number on the table below. Some fun times for a warden to call for a bends check include when the session begins, anytime the crew decides to leave the deep, whenever a crew member gets separated from the group, when the crew gains, well, I think I'd say when a separated crew member returns to the group. When the crew regains consciousness anywhere in the deep. There are a lot of great places to make this check, and we suggest you experiment. Are they human? Am I? There's a chance that anyone encountered in the deep is secretly an infiltrator android. Likewise, any android encountered may be a human suffering from the bends. The only way to tell is to use a cybernetic diagnostic scanner on their corpse. When used on a character, the warden tells the crew what they actually were. When used on a crew member, a bends check is required. Rolling under indicates the character is an android, if they were human to begin with. So let's go ahead. We're going to assume we are at a starting bend. So that was okay, so took us 5 tries to roll under there. And so now, well, that's escalates. Could, unless am I? Oh, okay, never mind. I thought you had to roll again, but no. So, okay, so it just has to progress naturally then. So initially you get increased empathy, gain 1 stress every time you see or hear an android die. And then memory lapse. You can't recall certain details about your past. Gain 1d10 bends. The next stage is This Is My Home. Refuse to leave the deep for 24 hours. Simulation. You're dreaming, in a coma, on drugs, or stuck in a slick world simulation. None of this is real. Doesn't matter what happens. The best way to wake up is to start breaking things. Gain 1 bends every round you don't break something for 1d10 rounds. Fraternity. Other androids from the deep see you as one of them. Gain 1d10 bends. Copycats. Encounters now have a 50% chance of including an android duplicate of yourself. Roko's Basilisk. If you do what Monarch wants, it will copy your consciousness into an android and let you live forever. Get brain scanned as soon as possible and listen for commands. Paranoid android. The others are fake and are watching you. Nearby crew members make fear saves at disadvantage. 45 to 49, lose 1d5 sanity. You can't stop ruminating. What would Monarch do? replace someone with a bomb, a human bomb. So on the crew, yes. Not you. One of them has been replaced. Stop them or others will die. They will understand when you show them the fake guts. They will see. And finally, if you've managed to get enough bends that you can roll a 50, you are actually an android. You belong here. And you lose control of your character. Oh. That is all. I guess my timer didn't go off for some reason. Yeah, that is all the time we have. So it looks like next time we'll start off with learning about the different types of androids wandering around the deep. Yeah, I don't know if I like this one better or not, but it is definitely another interesting module. I'm not sure if there will be a stream tomorrow, and I don't know what my plans are for Friday, but I definitely do want to continue this as soon as we can. But that is it for today.